Most people are quietly quitting, or you could say most people are giving up. So, America has become so unaffordable, people would rather just live in their car, work 2 days a week at some simpleton job, and find peace in that. And I can't blame them because if you look at the simple fact that we are renting our lives, which is what this channel is about. This channel is about, being essentially a peasant. If you're in the lower classes, there really isn't much middle class left. We all know that. So with that being said, it's like if you're not middle class and you're not wealthy, then you're in the lower classes. Are you poverty? And it's like you could be very close to poverty, which it's a few steps up from a peasant in a way, but it's a few steps below peasants. Peasants didn't have to remember 9 different passwords and to update their app and check their email and have a phone. And even that one, I want to talk about that one. So life is unaffordable, obviously. But why is it unaffordable? It's unaffordable in a very strange way. Now, I'm 40 years old, so here's what I'm going to tell you that I know for a truth. If I go back just 20, 25 years to when I was a teenager, the weird thing is all these extra bills, well, people didn't have all these extra bills. So, for example, the best, littlest phone plan you can get if you don't have internet in your house is like 45 to 50 bucks for partially unlimited. It's decent. It's not the best. Really, you could spend like 50, 60, maybe 80 bucks for a really good plan. But you have to have a phone. There's no way around it. It's like if you're going to have somebody call you back, it's like, I don't even know if there's such a thing as a landline left. And then the thing is, like, if you just have like a digital Google voicemail, it's like, okay, well, that'll work, right? Not really, because if you have to call them, you can't call them with a voicemail. You could have like a Google phone number. If you have Wi-Fi or something, maybe you could call from. I don't even know about that. So we're already in for 50 or 60 bucks and anything else you're paying for on your phone. So you are already in for 50, 60 bucks for that subscription, which is your phone bill. Okay. Then we'll talk about food real here quick. The average food thing that came down to that Americans are spending, they have a very good set of numbers now. And they're seeing it anywhere from at the bottom is 300. That's the bottom, okay? Which is what people get on SNAP or EBT, 300. So if you spend 300, you're on the bottom, but on average, people are spending closer to 575 a person. So that means, dude, in a 4-person household, people are spending like $2,200 or $2,300, I think, a month. $2,300 a month to feed a family of 4, maybe 5. Life's unaffordable. And it's like, what does that mean? Well, let's go back to the beginning of what I was saying. It means basically that nobody wants to have kids. Nobody wants to have a family. Everything has now become a calculated risk. If you're a fairly intelligent individual, and honestly, man, you don't need to be that intelligent. Everything's a calculated risk. Nobody wants to get married because they could end up in a divorce, which means they could end up having to pay money. Nobody wants to have kids because, again, you may lose custody and end up paying for that kid a different way, but you're going to have to pay for the kid regardless. So nobody wants to have kids. Nobody wants to get married. Nobody wants to be in a relationship because every day of our lives is so stressful and people are so freaking sick of it. They're giving up and they're just going to live in their car. I know. I did it once. It made life, it simplified life. Now, that was like 20 years ago when I was 20. But let me just say, man, I couldn't do it again, but good God, right?